My name is Amanda Foster, 32 years old, and I always thought I was a solid sister. I'd poured everything into making my older sister's 35th birthday party in New Orleans, a hit flying down from Denver, where we grew up, setting it all up at our family's old rental spot in the French Quarter. As she raised her glass for a toast amid the guests, I expected some thanks. Instead, she locked eyes with me and said, "The best gift you leaving my life." My brother laughed like it was the punchline I'd earned, nodding as if I should just pack up and go. I clamped my mouth shut, grabbed my bag, and walked out right then. A week later, 33 missed calls from her flooded my phone. What she didn't know was how seriously I'd take those words. I'd vanish completely. Not just from her life, but from the toxic web she'd spun since we were kids. Flash forward 6 months. She's blowing up my old number voice, cracking in voicemails, begging me to come back, promising things would change. I listened to one, then deleted them all cold and final, knowing the big secret I'd uncovered about her financial lies would seal the deal as my perfect revenge. It started with suspicions from my college friend who dug into some shady transfers, leading me to her ex-husband with damning proof she'd been siphoning family money for years. Truok kiji, sao vao kao chuyen, kua toi muon biet, banjang he, luk me gio va o tan po, nao gio jokien, toi vui, vi thai kao chuyen, lantoak sa genjao. That first clue from my friend sparked everything, pushing me toward the confrontation at the party that would change our family forever. To understand why that clue hit so hard, you have to go back to our childhood in Denver. Life there was all about keeping up appearances in our middle-class neighborhood, but my sister Stephanie always found ways to tear me down. My sketches were never artistic enough, my school outfits too plain, my report cards just average even when I studied late. Our parents would praise my efforts sometimes, but Stephanie would swoop in, critique every detail, and say things like, "No one cares about your sloppy work." She'd correct me in front of friends too, yanking my posture straight and hissing, "Look confident, Amanda, or you'll always be the weak one. Smile right, but not too much. You seem fake." Those jabs became daily. Dad Andrew was my shield, kind, always encouraging with a hug, and words like, "You're doing great, kid." He'd light up over my little projects, acting as the balance to Stephanie's constant negativity. But when I was 10, it all crumbled. Dad died suddenly in a car accident on his way home from work. Stephanie was supposed to pick him up that day but flaked for a date. I remember the panic dialing emergency services, neighbors helping until paramedics arrived. At the hospital, Stephanie's first words to me were sharp. "This is on you for not reminding him to rest." That accusation burrowed in, making me feel responsible for our family's shatter. Matthew, just a year older than me, didn't say much at first, but he started echoing her over time like, "Yeah, you could have done more." My teens turned into a grind for her validation. I loaded up on extracurriculars, nailed a 4.0 GPA, captained the volleyball team. Every success got diminished. Sarah's sister landed at Stanford, or another's had better presence. Still, I snagged a scholarship to NYU for marketing. "You'll crash and burn." Stephanie sneered at the acceptance letter. "You're not cut out for the big leagues." But I graduated magna cum laude, building skills in campaigns and strategy. She blew off the ceremony with some excuse. Matthew came but spent it texting her. The manipulation ramped up after Dad's passing. Stephanie never held steady jobs, bouncing between gigs and living off his small insurance payout. She'd spin stories about her own tough breaks, like how our grandmother Heather had briefly left her with ants as a kid, making her feel abandoned, to guilt me into helping. "You owe me for what you caused," she'd say, pushing me to cover her bills or loans. I did, thinking it made up for the accident, blame depositing into a shared account we set up for family emergencies. But she'd dip into it for personal stuff, clothes trips. And if I questioned, she'd turn it around. "After all I've done, raising you post-dad, this is how you repay." Matthew would back her, saying, "Just let it go. She's had it rough." Enter Madison Gray, my college buddy from NYU days. We met in a business class, bonded over late-night study sessions, and stayed close even after she pivoted to cybersecurity analysis in New York. She's sharp, always spotting patterns others miss. A few years back, during a casual chat over coffee, I mentioned the shared account, weirdness random transfers I couldn't track. Madison offered to glance at my statements informally, no big deal since we trusted each other. She flagged some odd outflows like payments to unknown vendors that didn't match family needs. "This looks off," she texted one night. "Want me to dig a bit?" That sparked my first real doubts. Madison sent over initial findings screenshots of transfers linking to Stephanie's personal expenses like spa days or online shopping sprees. It wasn't theft outright, but it screamed misuse. I confronted Stephanie lightly once over the phone. "Hey, what's with these charges?" She brushed it off. "Family money is for family, don't micromanage." But Madison's evidence gnawed at me, leading me to search for more. That's when I reached out to Christopher Dunn, her ex-husband. I'd kept his number from their wedding years ago. He was hesitant at first, but after a cryptic message, he agreed to talk, hinting at bigger deceptions during their marriage. Those revelations built slowly, fueling my resolve to expose it all. Madison's next batch of proof, a detailed log of suspicious wires, pushed me to plan the birthday party as the perfect stage. As those early suspicions from Madison grew into something undeniable, my adult life in Denver only highlighted how deep Stephanie's control ran. By my mid-20s, I'd built a solid career in marketing, starting at a local agency and climbing to senior strategist, crafting campaigns for tech startups that brought in big clients. The pay was good enough to afford a condo downtown, and I felt stable for the first time. But Stephanie, still bouncing between unstable retail jobs, leaned on me heavier than ever. She'd call weekly with emergencies, rent shortfalls, utility bills, piling up even credit card payments for her impulse buys. "Family sticks together," she'd say, guilting me into transferring funds from our shared account. I covered thousands over the years, thinking it kept peace, while Matthew would chime in during family calls. "You're the successful one, help her out." Her sabotage hit hardest in my relationships. At 22, I dated Joshua King, a reliable graphic designer my friends raved about. When he joined a family dinner, Stephanie dominated, slipping in digs like, "Amanda's always been unstable with guys. She needs someone patient." Days later, she texted him privately claiming I had family issues that made me unreliable for anything serious. He ghosted soon after. The same happened with Michael Ross at 25, a teacher I connected with deeply. Stephanie called him, warning about my emotional baggage from Dad's death, and he pulled away, citing concerns. Matthew laughed it off when I complained, "She's just looking out for you." It escalated to my work life too. During a big promotion push at 28, anonymous emails landed in my boss's inbox hinting at personal problems affecting my focus stories about family drama that painted me as distracted. I traced the IP vaguely to Chicago, where Stephanie lived, but had no proof then. Sales dipped that quarter and the raise slipped away. "Tough break," she said casually over the phone. "Maybe next time." Then came the leak from Amber Tate, her assistant at the boutique she managed part-time. Amber and I had met at a holiday gathering, exchanging numbers after she complimented my marketing tips. One afternoon, she forwarded an email by mistake meant for Stephanie but sent to me instead. It was a chain showing Stephanie authorizing charges from our shared account to her personal credit for luxury items like designer bags and a weekend getaway. The subject line read, "Quick approval," with her note, "Cover this with the family fund, Amanda won't notice." My stomach dropped. I screenshotted it, then called Stephanie calmly. "What's this email about?" She paused, then snapped, "Must be a mix-up, Amber's clumsy. Don't overthink it." But the denial fueled my fire. Around then, Christopher Dunn's messages started. Stephanie's ex-husband from their short marriage 5 years back. He'd always been distant but civil. It began with an anonymous DM on my work LinkedIn. We need to talk about your sister's finances, not what they seem. I replied cautiously, and he switched to a burner email sending snippets at first redacted bank statements showing transfers from family insurance remnants to her hidden accounts during their divorce. She hid assets, he wrote, used stories about your dad's death to justify it. After a week of back and forth, he called from a blocked number voice low. Stephanie siphoned thousands claiming it for family needs, but pocketing it. I have recordings from our settlement talks where she admits it. He promised to send one if I met halfway. Madison coordinated it all, cross-checking his docs with her analysis tools. This matches the patterns I saw, she confirmed over encrypted chat. Emails, wires, it's a web of deceit. We gathered more timelines linking her spending to my deposits, even voicemails where she bragged to friends about easy money from Esses. With the party approaching, I saw it as the ideal moment reveal. Everything in front of witnesses let the truth dismantle her facade. Madison prepped a digital folder. Christopher forwarded the key audio file of Stephanie confessing, "Yeah, I moved the money. No one will know if I spin it right." Hearing that sealed it. I'd play it at the toast, turning her celebration into her reckoning. With that audio confession locked in my phone, I flew to New Orleans, ready to turn Stephanie's 35th birthday into the moment her lies unraveled. I'd spent weeks planning the party at our family's old rental house in the French Quarter, a cozy Creole cottage we used for gatherings. Madison had compiled a digital folder of evidence emails from Amber, showing Stephanie's misuse of our shared account bank logs, from Christopher detailing hidden transfers during their divorce, and that damning recording of her bragging about siphoning money. I backed it all up on a USB drive tucked in my purse and synced a group chat with close family and friends for the final blow. My plan wasn't just to confront her. It was to expose her in front of everyone who'd bought her victim act for years. I arrived 2 days early, setting up the house with catered Creole dishes, a jazz playlist she loved, and a bar stocked with her favorite bourbon. The gift, a restored family photo from our Denver days with Dad framed in oak, cost me $1,500 to have an artist recreate from a faded print. It was sentimental, something she'd once said she missed. I told myself it was a peace offering, but deep down it was bait to make her drop her guard. Matthew helped with setup, oblivious to my plan, chatting about how Stephanie deserved a big night. "You're a good sister for this," he said, clueless. I nodded, stomach tight, rehearsing my moves. Guests arrived at 6 p.m. family, her work friends, a few neighbors. I greeted everyone, smiling through the nerves, while Amber, her assistant, gave me a quick nod, unaware I'd use her forwarded email tonight. By 6:45, Stephanie swept in, wearing a dress I'd paid for last Christmas, her hair swept up. I moved to hug her. She offered a stiff pat instead. "This place is too humid," she complained first thing. "And the food better not be spicy." I suggested adjusting the AC. She rolled her eyes. "Whatever it'll do." The night hummed along. Stephanie charming the crowd, barely acknowledging me except to snap about the music being too loud. Matthew stuck close to her, laughing at her jokes, throwing me casual glances like I was the help. After dinner, I stood to present the gift, heart pounding but voice steady. "Stephanie," I said, holding the frame, "for your 35th, I wanted something that reminds us of Dad." The room hushed as she unwrapped it, the photo glowing under the chandelier light. For a split second, her face softened, then it hardened. "Dad always loved you best in these," she said sharply. "Should have been mine from the start." Guests shifted uncomfortably. An aunt murmured, "It's beautiful, Steph." But she set it aside, dismissive. Then came her toast. She stood glass raised, smiling tightly. "Thanks for coming, everyone," she started. "Family's what matters most at this age." Her eyes hit mine. If I had one wish tonight, it'd be for some people to just leave my life. No more pretense, no baggage, just freedom. Matthew chuckled, adding, "Yeah, Amanda, maybe take a break." The room went silent, forks clinking awkwardly, eyes darting. I didn't freeze this time. "You mean me, don't you?" I said, voice calm but loud. Stephanie smirked. "Don't make a scene." I pulled out my phone, opened the group chat, and hit play on the audio. Her voice filled the room. "Yeah, I moved the money. No one will know if I spin it right." Gasps rippled. Matthew frowned, leaning forward. I swiped to the email screenshots from Amber, projecting them on my phone for all to see. Transfers to her personal account's luxury receipts. "You've been lying for years," I said, staring her down. "Using Dad's money? My money for yourself." Stephanie's face crumpled. She screamed, "That's fake. You're jealous, always have been." Her hands shook, tears spilling as she lunged for my phone, knocking over a glass. Guests backed away. Amber looked stunned. Matthew stood shouting, "What is this?" "Stephanie, explain." She turned on him, voice cracking. "She's twisting it. I'm the victim here." But the evidence was clear. An uncle grabbed his phone, seeing the group chat I'd sent with the full file, emails, logs, audio. Whispers grew. Her friends stared, betrayed. "Believe what you want," I said, grabbing my bag. "I'm done." I hit send on the group chat, sharing the folder with everyone present, then walked out as Stephanie's sobs echoed behind me. Matthew called after me, "Amanda, wait." But I kept going, heart racing with the weight of what I'd just unleashed. In that moment, I knew I wasn't just leaving the party. I was vanishing from her world for good, her lies exposed as my final act. Walking out of that New Orleans party, I felt a weight lift, but knew the real work was just starting. Stephanie's screams faded behind me, but her lies and that humiliating toast fueled my resolve to vanish completely. Back at my hotel that night, I sat with a notebook, mapping out every step to cut her from my life, financially, emotionally, permanently. By dawn, I had a plan, and I moved fast. First, I emailed Amber Tate, Stephanie's assistant, a letter from my sister. It was short, deliberate. "Stephanie, you wanted me gone. I'm granting that. All financial support stops now. Your rent bills, cards are your responsibility. This isn't anger, it's freedom for both of us. Don't look for me." I asked Amber to deliver it in person, knowing she'd see it through. Next, I handled the money. I'd been paying Stephanie's rent, utilities, even her credit card minimums for years through our shared account. Logging into my bank app, I froze. It canceled all auto payments and removed myself as an authorized user on her cards. I called the insurance company, cutting off her car policy I'd covered, and redirected my mail to a new P.O. box. No loose ends. By noon, I contacted my boss in Denver, requesting 2 weeks of emergency leave. Years of unused vacation time made it easy. Then I called a realtor friend to sell my condo fast, discreet cash buyer, even at a loss. Big changes, I told her, dodging questions. Within days, I packed essentials, clothes, Dad's old photos, a few keepsakes. The flashy furniture Stephanie always admired, left for donation. I didn't care about it anymore. Madison Gray, my cybersecurity friend, was my anchor. After the party, I filled her in. She took it up a notch, suggesting we amplify the exposure. Using a burner account, she posted anonymized snippets of the evidence, emails, and transfer logs, no names attached, on a family finance forum we knew Stephanie's friends followed. "Let the truth spread," Madison said. She ensured it was untraceable, just enough to spark whispers without legal risk. Christopher Dunn, Stephanie's ex, sent one last file, a divorce settlement note, proving she'd hidden assets. Madison wove it into the posts, making the betrayal undeniable. I drove East Landing in Washington, D.C., far from Denver or New Orleans, a fresh start in a city buzzing with opportunity. I found a small apartment in Georgetown, simple and cozy, nothing like my old showy condo. Using my marketing experience, I landed a job at a boutique agency focused on nonprofit campaigns. The work felt meaningful, prioritizing impact over prestige. "We value heart in our strategists," my new boss said. It hit differently, grounding me. "Dr. Kristen Black, my new therapist in DC, specialized in family trauma. In our first session, I laid out the party and my vanishing plan. Revenge through truth can be healing, she said, but make sure it's about your freedom, not her punishment. Her words stuck, guiding me through guilt that crept in during quiet moments. Therapy became my space to unpack years of Stephanie's manipulation, reframing it as her burden, not mine. I started seeing Daniel Black, a policy analyst I met at a DC book club. Our dates were easy coffee shops, walks along the Potomac, no pressure, just real connection. His calm presence showed me what healthy relationships felt like. Meanwhile, Stephanie's missed calls piled up, 33 by the end of the first week, voicemails starting angry. "Amanda, the rent didn't clear, fix it." Then desperate, "Where are you? Call me." I ignored them. Matthew texted too, at first siding with her. "You're making her life hell, sis." But Madison's posts were working. Forum threads spread and family friends started piecing things together. Matthew called again, tone shifting. "I saw the posts. Is it true?" I didn't respond, but Madison sent him a private link to the full evidence, nudging his doubts. His realization grew slowly. By week 3, he left a voicemail. I didn't know how bad it was. "I'm sorry," I laughed. I listened, felt a pang, but stayed firm. Stephanie's life was unraveling. Amber texted me updates. She'd lost her boutique job after clients saw the forum buzz, her reputation tanked. Her calls turned threatening one night. "You'll regret this, Amanda, I'll find you." I blocked her number, heart pounding but steady. Matthew tried one last text. "Talk to me, please." I blocked him too. My new life in DC took root, friends from work, runs in Rock Creek Park, Daniel's steady support. But that final call from Stephanie, caught before the block, lit a spark. She'd seen the posts, knew the truth was out, and her world was crumbling. That was the moment I knew my vanishing wasn't just escape, it was the start of her reckoning. Stephanie's world wasn't just crumbling, it was collapsing under the weight of her own lies. Those anonymous posts Madison had seeded on the family finance forum spread like wildfire. By the end of the first month, screenshots of her misused transfers and that audio confession had reached her coworkers, clients, even distant cousins. Her boutique job in Chicago vanished when a key client, a friend of our aunt, pulled out, citing trust issues after seeing the evidence online. Amber, her assistant, texted me quietly. "She's been let go. It's bad." Stephanie's credit cards maxed out at $35,000 from years of my support hit overdue status. Collection notices piled up, and her landlord sent eviction warnings for unpaid rent. Friends who'd once rallied around her victim act started distancing themselves, their group chats going silent when her name came up. Amber said she'd overheard Stephanie crying alone in her apartment, muttering about fixing this. Matthew's shift came slower but hit harder. After Madison sent him the full evidence folder, he spent weeks digging through it himself, cross-checking with old family bank records he'd kept. His texts to me changed tone by month, too. "I didn't see it before. I'm sorry I backed her." He called voice heavy, admitting he'd confronted Stephanie at her place. "She wouldn't explain, just yelled at me to leave," he said. He'd found more proof himself, a hidden account statement showing she'd funneled money even after Dad's death, claiming it for grief expenses. Matthew tried reaching out again. "Can we talk, Amanda?" I messed up. I read his messages, felt a flicker of sympathy, but replied once, "I need space. Please respect that." I didn't block him yet, but I wasn't ready to let him back in. Stephanie's desperation peaked 3 months in. Amber forwarded a letter from her, handed over during a tense coffee meetup. The paper was creased handwriting, uneven, nothing like her usual polished notes. "Amanda, I was wrong. I saw the posts, the proof. I took money, lied about Dad, about everything. I was jealous. Grandmother Heather's rejection broke me, and I took it out on you. I'm selling my car, moving to a cheaper place, trying to fix it. I'm sorry. Please call." No demands, just raw regret. I took it to Dr. Kristen Black's office, reading it aloud in therapy. The words stirred old pain but no desire to reconnect. Kristen suggested a symbolic act to let go. That night, I burned the letter in a small metal tray, watching the ashes curl, feeling the finality settle in. I didn't respond. Stephanie's downfall sharpened. By month 4, she'd moved to a rundown studio, her social circle gone, except for a few loyalists who soon faded too. Amber said she'd started therapy, joined a support group for family estrangement, but it wasn't enough to undo the damage. Her last voicemail before I blocked her for good was a broken whisper. "I didn't mean it, Amanda. I'm losing everything." I deleted it, heart steady now. Matthew made one final attempt, sending a long email. "I'm trying to make this right. I've cut contact with her too. Can I see you?" I replied, "I'm building my life. I wish you well, but I'm done." Then I blocked him, closing that chapter. In Washington, D.C., my world grew brighter. The nonprofit marketing job turned into a promotion director of campaigns focused on community impact. My apartment in Georgetown felt like home, filled with books and plants, no trace of Stephanie's influence. Daniel Black and I got serious. He proposed on a quiet hike in Shenandoah, his family welcoming me like their own. Therapy with Kristen kept me grounded, teaching me that my revenge, exposing the truth, was less about hurting Stephanie and more about reclaiming my worth. Friends from my running group and work became my chosen family, their support showing me what real connection meant. Looking back, vanishing was my only path to freedom. Stephanie's lies had chained me for years, and breaking free meant forcing her to face the consequences. The truth didn't just hurt her, it set me free. The lesson I carry: boundaries aren't selfish, they're survival. Revenge through truth can bring justice, but it's the act of walking away that heals. If you're caught in a toxic family web, recognize the manipulation early. Don't wait for a breaking point like I did. Gather proof if you need it, not to destroy, but to protect your peace. Choose yourself and build a life with people who value you, not your sacrifices. Blood doesn't define, family choice does. Thanks for listening to my story. It was tough to share, but worth it if it resonates. Share your toxic family experiences in the comments. I'd love to hear how you've set boundaries or broken free. And please subscribe for more real stories like this.